What do you do if you forget a quote in the middle of the exam? Do your best to remember it. And if you need to obviously like make something up, you're going to have to do that and paraphrase. So paraphrase it, do your best to remember what you wanted to talk about and think, the quote was something like this. You're going to have to just, what else would you do? Would you not write something? I would just think about, okay, I'll try and remember roughly what the quote was, and I'm just going to go with it, be confident in it, just pretend that's exactly how it was, and you'll likely get away with it, but not if it's not if it's completely wrong. But here's the bottom line: don't forget your quotes. Make sure they're the things that you are going over again and again, even after you've memorized the full thing. Make sure you can write out the quotes, and even just the quotes as the base. Make sure you can write out the quotes for all of your essays, back to front, again and again, without looking at anything else, to make sure that you're never in that situation. So the true answer is don't get in that situation. If you just forget one quote, maybe it's worth even just getting rid of that whole sentence of analysis that you wanted to do and just moving on to the next one. That could be possible. It depends how many other pieces of analysis you have. But if you have a shorter essay and you really need to have that sentence in there and you were going to make a good point, you're going to just have to paraphrase. And ideally, I would shorten the quote so there's only a few words, so it's less disputable. Should you prioritize technical density? Technical density, what a term. And quotes or explanation of one quote. You've got to find a balance. You've got to have to do both, don't you? I would have at least 3 quotes per body paragraph in my essays that I'm analyzing. And then you need to hit the depth in the analysis. So the most important part of your sentences of analysis are how you explain the quote and the technique. Okay, so once you introduce the technique and the quote, you want to have a substantial explanation on the effect of that. So that is very important, but we also need to be efficient and move on to our next point soon after, because you don't have that much time. So the answer, unfortunately, is both. I would have a minimum of 3, sometimes 4. If you're doing a 3 body paragraph essay, I would have 4 quotes and techniques in each one, making sure you also refer to context and form occasionally. And from there, you want to make sure that your effects are as sophisticated as possible, but you guys need to be concise. You just don't have that much time. How do you make sure that you're not excessively describing a quote? Here we go, an example. Thank you for doing examples. Guys, examples are how I'm going to be able to answer your questions the best. 1984, The 2-Minute Hate, Deliberate Drowning of Consciousness by Rhythmic Now. How do you make sure? It shouldn't be longer than 1 clause, basically, which is just like not a full sentence, but like a little section where you might have a comma. So you don't want to be storytelling. You just want to be contextualizing. Okay. So storytelling would be you starting a sentence and saying, during the 2 minutes hate, this happens. It's like, we don't want to say that. We want to say the technique as the collective of Oceania, or as the party members engage in the 2 minutes hate. That's what we have to say. You just need to say enough that the marker will know the part of the text that you're talking about, basically. Okay, so always good to mention a character where relevant. And it's as easy as saying, instead of the metaphor, you can say Winston's metaphor. So you can just say the character who said it. You're already giving me some context there. That's describing the quote. The more important thing is that you tell me what the quote means. But the drowning of consciousness, that metaphor, right? That image of it being drowned out. Obviously, we're talking about the suppression of free thought, free speech. So you want to make sure you get to that point and you don't spend too much time saying the 2 minutes hate. You can just say during the 2 minutes hate and then move on to the technical analysis. So sometimes starting with the plot element right at the start of the sentence and just saying during or when or following, and then doing a comma and just saying the technique straight after, that's going to make it a lot easier.